What is your beef? Why do you have such a problem with me?
Can we get the real Andy? I would prefer the real Andy.
Oh, let's get the real Max. I'll take off my mask when you take off your mask, brother.
Because who's your new favorite YouTuber, Ian, that wanted to be on the show with us?
The madman. The madman.
Mad Movie Man.
Let's bring on Max Movies because he scares the living shit out of me. Hold on.
Oh, wow.
Mad Max says, I think you should apologize. Right? I'm sitting here in a goddamn torn down pool house.
I don't even know who you
pool house
are.
is torn apart. Okay, it's torn apart because I'm remodeling on my $70 webcam. Okay, I'm no better than you.
Movie Madness Entertainment. Welcome.
What's up, everyone? So, it's me again, Eddie. When it says DC Madness, that's my show. That's my me talking about whatever topic it is when it comes to DC. Because again, the only reason why I made this DC Madness thing is because lots of people always get, kind of too emotional or too, silly when it comes to the topic of DC on this channel. So I thought to myself, I might as well make something like this so people won't get as angry because I have a more calmer nature. I'm more respectful when it comes to people's opinions, even if I disagree. But no, that's the basis of this. And that's kind of the basis of this video. Not video, I mean stream. Sorry. But no, what's up, everyone? Happy for you to be here. Happy for you to click on the stream and hear me talk about some uneasy things, I guess, when it comes to the DCU and DCEU. I mean, oh, see, I'm already confused. So look, I get it. The thumbnail is kind of like, ooh, that's what's going on there? Is it like Snyderverse people, the Snyder fandom again? Is it like Max himself being kind of like biased versus everything that's to come out this upcoming DCU slate just because he knows there's nothing else is going to happen in the future, or is he biased versus James Gunn because he does like his specific film making and he considers that he might ruin these iconic characters? I don't believe that's the case. But again, when it comes to the DCU, and sorry, I'm a little sick, so that's why I'm gonna sound kind of weird and probably cough most instances as well. But no, I have faith in the DCU. I get it. We haven't seen anything yet, so how can I say that? But at the same time, I have a strong sense that I should give James Gunn a chance because look, he has given us some great comic book films before, not just with the MCU. The Guardians franchise, the first one, the second one. I think the third one's gonna be good as well. But the Suicide Squad, he did a bunch for the franchise. After that first film, it made enough money and lots of people were talking about it. And I do agree that I wish we would have saw the air cut because I think the movie would have been way better than the studio version of the film. But even with that, I have my doubts sometimes if it's even a good movie. But no, with the Suicide Squad, he made a great film. He made a film that the critics and audiences respected. He made the first ever DCU show within Peacemaker that was a rating success. So I thought to myself, well, he probably would have been my first choice to be co-DC head, but at the same time, it's like he definitely has a more creative aspect of it. I think Peter Safran's is like the more executive, more businessman side of the relationship. But yeah, again, what's up, everyone who's saying hi to me in the chat? But when it comes to that, Max, and pretty much because look, I always, and sometimes I'm like, I had to get out that nature of making fun of the Snyder fans or the Snyder fandom, especially the toxic ones. I guess apparently some people get mad when I talk about them as well, even though it's like, well, they're being shitty people and they're saying things that just get people mad or saying things out of spite. But no, none of them want to give this. We already know what I mean when I say Snyder fans too. It's obvious. The toxic ones are people who are biased or obviously biased. They don't want to even think about DC if it doesn't include one dude that hasn't been around in years. So it's like, come on, man, you're really not gonna support DC over one guy, especially when the movie you wanted to happen actually came out and it was a great movie. And look, but even with that, it was a great movie. But I knew for a fact that it was going to be a cul-de-sac. They said it beforehand, and there's nothing else happening after that. So I remember the same week, because Falcon and Winter Soldier and Snyder Cut came out the same week. I think 2 days apart, I believe. The Snyder Cut came and went. That's it. They said it. They said it a week later that no, Ann Sarnoff was like, no, nothing else is happening. We completed the trilogy. Falcon and Winter Soldier happened, and then within the same day of its finale, people were like, "No, we're getting Captain America 4." Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" So you're telling me you announced Captain America 4, but we can't get Justice League 2? And I said, well, it makes sense. We never, they never promised us any more stuff to happen in the future. And again, the only reason why they did that is because they wanted to boost HBO Max subscriptions. That's why they announced it 7-8 months before the movie was even going to release, and everyone rushed to HBO Max to subscribe. Not me. I waited until a week before the movie was actually going to release to watch it on HBO Max. But no, they never promised us anymore. That's a hard truth. And yes, I do consider the movie a success. Maybe not on HBO Max. I think worldwide, we don't know the numbers, and that's the thing that worries me the most. Every time I go back and think about all the times I was trying to figure everything out, they really did not. They really restricted the numbers when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and that's not fair. But for everything else, they announced it. HBO Max, the official HBO Max account on Twitter announced it. Almost all the numbers and the ratings for the other films or whatever else, but for the Snyder Cut, they were dead silent. So I was like, well, it is what it is. But again, they never promised us anything. They never promised us a Batfleck movie. They never promised us Man of Steel 2 or 3. They never promised us any of that stuff. And yes, when it comes to common sense and being realistic, yeah, it would make sense within the DCU that they should go back to another Superman movie, for first time ever in that universe, a Batman movie, which is kind of embarrassing if you think about it. There's like no Batman movie in the DCU, and Batman vs Superman does not count, man. I'm sorry, that's a dual movie. That doesn't count as a Man of Steel sequel either. But the fact that we never got a Batman movie in a shared universe is embarrassing. Do I think in the DCU we will get one? Yes, I do. And James Gunn has stated that I'm pretty sure, at least when it comes to the more iconic characters, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, they're not going to be origin movies. I know for Superman it isn't, because he already stated it. It's going to be in Clark's early life I forgot what it's called, the Daily Planet, and he's already established to meet some of the superheroes already. That stuff already happened in the backstory of this new universe. So I guess that's cool that he's not doing origin stuff. I'd rather see Eddie than any DCU. No. Trust me, I definitely want to see some DCU movies. But again, look, I do believe when it comes to the DCEU that the remaining films, there's 4 left, and I hope to God Blue Beetle gets transitioned to the DCU, because I seeing that character for the first time ever, how cool he is. He has a fan base, and to know that we'll never see it again, it's like, come on, bro, come on. But when it comes to that, I think they will be inconsistent when it comes to the box office. I think the general audience already gave up on the DCEU. If anything, the general audience, they're more simple-minded. They're not stupid, trust me, they're more simple-minded. But when it comes to the overall basis of superheroes or comic book films, all they think of is, well, Marvel is successful, so I guess we'll just go to them. DC has a track record of being atrocious, so we can avoid the DC films, I guess. And that's a fact, because look, from beginning to middle to the end, yes, we have a couple good DCU movies, but even with that, the whole universe on its own had baggage. It had lots of, outside of it, the discourse was toxic as shit. So many subsections and factions of DC fans just colliding with each other. And I think the DCU was needed, despite me saying the DCEU could have been saved. It is what it is. But I think the box office will reflect on people knowing this is it for the characters. So what's the point? If we know we're not going to get a proper conclusion, what's the point of watching these films anymore? And look, I said it like in my past 2 streams. It's your money, it's your time. It is what it is. I'll say this about Batgirl. It was very interesting when Batgirl got canceled. Lots of people were expressing their doubts about what the hell is going on with Zaslav, what's going on with DC. This is fucked up. I remember that specific fandom, not because it's not really about them this whole stream, but they were laughing about it, saying no, Zaslav made a good call. It makes sense. It made sense to cancel Batgirl, and look what happened now. Everything's gone. The whole DCU is gone now. And now these people are mad at Zaslav, calling him a loser, idiot, saying he doesn't know how to be a businessman. And obviously James Gunn getting appointed at that position of power within DC, being the co-head. It was like, that was their worst nightmare. But I did say it once he got the job, and I did say it once he said everything was getting rebooted. that this is karma for Batgirl. Batgirl got revenge. But the DCU plan, look, it's supposed to be 10 years. James Gunn only has a 4-year contract. I think, in my opinion, he's just there to build the foundations of the universe. I don't believe he's staying. He's not going to be like Kevin Feige, staying there for long term until he wants to leave. Until he wants to step down. I don't believe that. If he does, that's it's good for him. But that's why I keep addressing that when it comes to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Even though James Gunn has to oversee all that stuff, even the Batman and Joker stuff that's separate, and the Elseworld stuff that might possibly happen in the future. To build those foundations, you need good, if not great, a Superman film, a Batman film, and whatever else. You need the core members, the A-listers, to be successful. So, like, when you go to the B-listers, the C-listers, the D-listers, you already have everything established. So even if you fail with them, the core people will be all right. And that's why I'm excited about the animation, the video games, and the TV shows that are, I guess, most likely going to be on HBO Max. The video games obviously is something separate because there's WB games and all that stuff. So they'll probably just come together and talk about the possibilities of what games you want to make and which ones are canon. But going to the lack of any real word about what's getting announced, even though we know some projects. I'm pretty sure James didn't say it was going to be all of them. So it's like, well, Superman's already there. You don't have to worry about that. Again, Green Lantern has to be a film. I really don't think he's going to keep that TV show. That's just my opinion. But you know how long it's been since 2011 we had a live action Green Lantern film. That was, yes, the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds was atrocious. I kind of like it in a little way, but yeah, it was atrocious. And having a TV show, because I said it, $100 million budget, possibly 6 to 8 episodes. First, it was about all the Green Lanterns all together, but then it transitioned to being a Jon Stewart Green Lantern show. I said to myself, it's like the movie makes more sense, and look, it can be a box office success, and the Green Lantern the Green Lanterns in general could be very successful for the DC brand in live action if done right. But we'll wait and see. But I think I could bet money on it that he'll involve Green Lantern. And if he keeps that show, it is what it is. I'll still watch it. I mean, I love DC. I love the Green Lanterns. But lots of people just don't want to wait for his overall plan. And people are saying, Gunn, it's embarrassing that you're always on Twitter. It's always embarrassing that you care more about talking, debunking rumors or false information than actually working on your slate. And I keep hearing that, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure he was working on it before he was even announced as DC head. I'm starting to feel as if you say the same thing each stream. No, it's not. It's not me saying the same thing. It's that I'll say this. It's like a mixture of both. I say the same thing, but at the same time, lots of people just don't get it. What's so wrong about waiting? And the reason why I can't say anything else, in all honesty, is because there's nothing else to say. I can speculate about what slate can be. I can speculate about what James Gunn might announce after the slate. I could say, well, in my opinion, I think this is what DC should go, the route they should go to improve themselves. But until then, until I get word on what's going to happen, because I'm pretty sure the whole slate is going to be filled of movies, not television shows, as far as I know. Then I just had to keep waiting and see what the overall plan is. But no, lots of people are just being toxic about it. People are assuming the worst. And this is actually the main topic. I'm not going to address what I think is going to happen. I'm addressing why people are being so toxic for no reason. I guess his DCU plan. Because again, it comes down. Look, the general audience doesn't care. The bigger DC fandom kind of is upset about it, but they're not going to do, they're not going to spam fire James Gunn or boycott WB or hashtag Gunn is half for now. They're just going to wait and see what happens. And I said to myself, if it's garbage, it's garbage. If it's not, it's not. And again, lots of people are obviously going to be hyperbolic and biased against it, even if it is successful and it reflects off the box office as well. But waiting's not going to hurt you. Waiting's not going to make you, you're not going to die or if you wait about what comic book movies he'll announce. I mean, it's not that serious of a thing to really pull your hair, scream to the heavens and say, James Gunn, you bastard, like you know what I mean. But no, lots of people are speaking in hyperboles. Lots of people are not giving it a chance. Simply because they're not getting the route they wanted, the arc they wanted. And again, I wanted that arc as well. I wanted those 2 movies to happen. I wanted Henry Cavill to have at least 2 more Superman films. But that's just not the route they wanted to go because they didn't. I think James Gunn himself, despite having stuff set within that universe, did not even believe in it on his own. You know, he probably did not believe on that. He probably did not believe that he could really fix it. That he was saying to himself, maybe this stuff was just, it's too difficult of a plan to go through. Like the stuff I want to introduce in DC, all this stuff will be in the way. All the Zack Snyder stuff, all the standalone films that were done because of how Justice League was, you know, the lack of connectivity, the lack of mashups and ensemble films. It's like, that's not a universe I really want to, you know, path my way into 10 more years or at least 4 more years of my life to. It's like, I get it. A do-over was needed. A do-over means there's so many possibilities for characters to be fleshed out in the way the fans wanted to, I guess, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to see if anyone wants to come on so they can talk as well. I mean, I'll do the solo, but no, it's always better to have like different opinions on that stuff. And again, I'm not here to trash anyone either about because I know we all know who I put in the thumbnail, but it's nothing that crazy. It's just that it's really weird getting those vibes about, you know, you had to. I mean, I would not be surprised if he Max, even though I like the guy, you know, I definitely, you know, obviously I'm on his channel talking. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up with something with every other DCU film that's left. That I think this looks kind of cartoony, Power Rangers like. That I don't know if I want to support this or not. Like, you know, that sounds weird because you're never gonna see this stuff again. You know what I mean? We're never gonna see these actors in these roles again. We're not gonna get the proper conclusions to these stories when it comes to Shazam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, I hope, Aquaman. No, we're not gonna get what was intended, even for everything else. The Suicide Squad, Batman, Superman, the Justice League, obviously is the biggest. Yeah, look, yes, I agree. The Justice League arc is the biggest one with Darkseid. That was supposed to be their version of Infinity War / Endgame, but that's not going to happen. Maybe James Gunn can do something like that in the future, introduce Darkseid down the road, but he definitely, I think if he does, I don't think he will announce a Justice League movie for the first phase of the slate. I think it might be like, if he does, then that's cool. But I don't think it will be like Darkseid. It'll probably be like Vandal Savage, Brainiac, or someone like that. And then they'll probably set up Darkseid soon or later than that. What's up, George?
What's up, Eddie?
I don't know what you think about all this, man.
I think we should give James Gunn a shot. Like, the man understands comic books. He's 5 for 5 with comic book stuff. You know, he's made 3 excellent Guardians of the Galaxy things, possibly a 4th one. He did a great job with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And look, people think he's all about humor, but he knows how to balance the different tones. So I think he's gonna find a perfectly balanced Superman film. And look, I get it. It sucks that the versions of these characters that we love are coming to an end, but taking out the pitchforks and torches isn't going to help anyone. It's going to make things worse.
No, I agree when it comes to that, but that's the thing that people aren't getting. I understand it's stressful that we're not getting a proper conclusion to this universe. But this is a universe that people lost faith in. Not just the DC fandom itself, but the general audience did not give a fuck about this universe anymore. And Black Adam relates to that. I keep saying Black Adam was probably a test, having someone like Henry Cavill in it to see if anyone wanted more. But that movie underperformed. It barely broke even. The Rock himself had to fucking commit financial fraud and lie about the box office with his company. I mean, you guys have to understand this shit, man. And this is coming from a guy that wanted the universe to stay and not get rebooted. But it made sense for because with a fresh start, you don't have to worry about people being assholes about it, saying, "Oh, this sucks. This universe sucks," or "These characters aren't for my liking." It's like, well, you can't say that for now because we're not going to get those movies until a couple years from now. The first Superman movie will probably come out like what 3-4 years from now, maybe. I'm not even sure, man. We definitely aren't getting castings anytime soon either. So it's like you can't there's no baggage, there's no toxicity when it comes to the fandom of the DCU. Because as far as I know, for now, the DCU hasn't started yet. We just got to get rid of these remaining movies left in the previous slate. Then we can transition to how we talk about the next universe. I guess I don't know, man. It's like it's really stressful too on my own. Just saying, it's hard. Like stop being jerks about it. Stop being hyperbolic. Acting like James Gunn doesn't know what he's doing. That he's not a good director or writer. And look, Superman. I don't know why he involved himself in Superman, even though I said it makes sense because he has to be hands on. He has to make sure this movie's great because it's been so long since we got a Superman film. But at the same time, people are saying, "Oh no, he poop fetish Superman," or he's gonna ruin it with cringy jokes. His style of humor doesn't work. It's like, bruh. First of all, James Gunn turned down Superman when he first came to WB when they offered him that because he knows that's not his thing. He doesn't like that type of style of movies. And even with that, do you really think he's so stupid? Look, I said it myself on my own channel. He cannot have that Suicide Squad Peacemaker humor in that movie, and even Guardians of the Galaxy humor won't work for Superman either. So it's like he's either going to push himself out of his comfort zone to write a well balanced, more traditional version of the character, or it's just going to go to shit because he's writing. I don't know. I have to see how he executes anything. He won't be the director, I know that. So we'll just see who the director is, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm not, and as much as I love Max, I don't think people who are rooting for Gunn are delusional. I mean, sure, like this is completely different from directing, like which he's been known for, and again, he may not be a good president. We don't know. We've kind of seen this thing happen before with basketball, where NBA coach Phil Jackson was a great coach, but he was a horrible president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. Maybe the same thing can happen here, but maybe it won't. We don't really know for certain. All we know is that he's been more transparent than most presidents have been with film companies, and he obviously wants Superman to be a high priority, as well as other characters. He's been hinting at lesser known characters, and I think that's something that DC also needs to do. Look, if you're gonna root against Gunn, then that's a bad thing to do, because if this fails, they may not reboot this thing again. You may just only get Batman from DC on film from now on, because that seems to be the only thing that does financially well and is well liked by general audiences for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll answer this question. Let me ask, why so confident Gunn will succeed where previous writer failed? Again, his writing abilities, I'm not that well known when it comes to his writing abilities. I mean, I know he did Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder was involved in that as well. I got kind of curious how that would have paved out in the future with his fandom. But I think again, when he turned down the Superman movie, I think he turned it down because that's not the direction he wanted, and that's not the type of tone or style he was looking for when making a DC film. Because if anything, if Feige would allow him to do like a R rating or something else for Guardians, he probably would have did it. I mean, Guardians definitely has that type of more level headed like humor and other things when it comes to almost pushing that rating, almost pushing the PG-13 rating. But I know confidence overall when it comes to the DC studios. Again, is just to add to this question. I think, and first of all, before I even say that, this is a clean slate. We haven't seen anything yet when it comes to how he's gonna structure his film. So we just wait and see. I don't think it's all gonna be the same tone and style for people who are scared of that. I think it's to be consistent with some of them will be PG, some of these will be comedies. Our ratings, like, again, the possibilities are endless. This isn't the MCU where they can only stick to PG-13, but DC Studios is DC all the time. They got their own team there, no WB interference. And he said it, if there is going to be interference, it's coming from me and Peter. If any, and looking at those guys, how heavily they were involved in DC and liking creative freedom, they're not going to do that to anyone else. When it comes to other directors who are going to hire to do all these other IPs, I'm pretty sure they're not going to interfere with their movies, and it will turn into a Suicide Squad situation. But I don't know, George. I guess you can add your take on that.
I mean, look, we don't want any more studio interference, and I think he's made it clear that he's not going to be doing those kind of situations anymore. And look, as far as tone goes for his movies. Look, if you look at, he wrote Dawn of the Dead, like you said, which is considered one of Zack Snyder's best movies or one of his better movies. That was a movie that actually, I think, evened out with tone. Like, you had its humor, but you also had its really dramatic moments. And I think that's what people don't understand about James Gunn, is that he can do drama and serious stuff as well. Like, it's not just like humor. Like, yeah, his style of humor is more crude than what you would see in a normal superhero film. But I think that's what also adds to the uniqueness of James Gunn's films. But again, he's not directing this movie. He's just going to be writing it. The director could have a completely different tone from what James Gunn is used to, but they can still make it work. Like they made it work with Dawn of the Dead, him and Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I agree. And if anything, obviously rewrites are things. So if they mess up, the director's like, James, what the fuck is this, man? We had to go a different path. I'm pretty sure he'll respect it and consider his thoughts on how, you know, the perfect Superman movie could happen. Even though I don't think it will be perfect, but you know what I mean. I mean, yeah, Deadpool 3 is obviously Deadpool. It was always an R-rated character. I just use that as an example, saying, well, because they stuck to PG-13. The only reason why Deadpool is going to be R-rated because obviously people will complain if it's not and say, what the fuck is this? But you don't want a PG-13 Deadpool. Even though it hasn't been done before with like the holiday edition, whatever it was called. But no, that's the only R. As far as I know, that's the only R rating asset they acquired from the Fox deal, Deadpool. Oh, I guess X-Men kind of count, but I think they'll go a different route when it comes to X-Men and MCU. But yeah, the lack of faith. I'm not saying you should blindly just follow James Gunn and just, you know, love everything he does, because first of all, we haven't seen anything at all. But second of all, it's like, no, that's not how people think. Obviously, you have doubts. Obviously, express your opinions on maybe this shit will be garbage, or maybe, you know, he'll give us a crown jewel of a DC universe, a cohesive universe filled with cameos, references, filled with people matching up and you know, just a ton of superheroes, villains, sidekicks, like, you know, going to the cosmic side of things, going to the magical side of things, supernatural, grounded. I'm pretty sure if they already have a slate done, then I'm pretty sure they're already thinking about, you know, what happens after that, after we fulfill this first part of it. But and look, maybe I am being speaking hyperbole myself, saying that, you know, I can't really, even though I can imagine it, doesn't mean it will be executed the way I think it should. Maybe James Gunn will just take his time when it comes to these characters or more bigger characters after like the Trinity being introduced. If he does take his time, that's good. I said it. Proper planning and take your time is the key. Don't rush to get that Marvel money. That's what WB did, and they fucked it up, going from a Superman movie to BVS, you know, to, you know, Batman not having his own solo movie, fighting Superman with Wonder Woman as a secondary character with Justice League cameos. So it's like, come on, guy, what the fuck? And then Suicide Squad, that, you know, didn't really make sense to overall planning either. And then obviously Wonder Woman, we should have had a movie before all this, and then Justice League, and then Justice League ended up underperforming, being a flop, being an embarrassment to the DC brand, or at least the DCEU brand, and then that's it. And then WB didn't know what to do after that, so they just resorted to making standalone films until something was going to happen, either a reboot with the Flash movie or just pretending like the other stuff didn't happen. I guess I really don't know what else to say when it comes to that. They didn't need to build up solo films to do DC. No, I look, I like solo films. I have no problem with standalone films. I get it that they definitely, after Justice League, they resorted to that because look, Justice League was supposed to be the most connected movie of the franchise. Obviously, building all the, or not building, but bringing all the big characters together. But then they fucked it up and they ended up flopping. But no, I had no problems with origin movies or standalone films being introduced. But it's just that even though I consider something to be good, I could tell that they didn't know what to do after that. You know, after the Justice League failure, they just said, okay, we don't have to worry about this. And look, bringing all those people together as well, definitely the budget and just the contracts alone had to be massive. So that definitely didn't help when it came to how it performed. But that's looking at DC through a Marvel lens. I mean, that is a huge mistake. No, I think that I think when it comes to, I don't know. I think solo films are definitely not solo films, but when it comes to introducing these characters for the first time, yeah, some of them can be introduced through other people's films as well. But I think when it comes to the more important characters, they're definitely more of a standalone film, just so you can get ready and know these characters more before mashing them up with others. But that's my opinion, I guess, when it comes to the whole standalone film stuff. Because I wouldn't doubt that James Gunn will have a bunch of them in his version of DC, but I can still see a bunch of them mashing up. Bad management crew that up. They calls it. Yeah. No, I agree. They definitely know what to do. Let's see. I don't think it was rigged from the start. Again, they just rushed it, man. They just rushed it.
They rushed it.
No, talk, George.
It like, here's the thing. First of all, I'm not saying every character needs to have a film before like the big event film, but I feel like it could have made more sense to like have like a Ben Affleck Batman film and another Superman movie before they eventually met each other. Like, I felt like that probably should have been something that have happened. And I think for characters as big as like Aquaman and Flash, they obviously, I think they felt like they needed a movie before the big event film. Maybe there's some characters that sometimes don't need that, but there's some characters that are sometimes too big where you might want to like introduce them. I'm not saying do like a whole origin story, but like at least like give like an introduction to them, so that way we have a reason to care and want to see Justice League. We don't want to see Justice League just because we've already seen half the league before the film. We don't really know much about the other half.
Yeah, I agree. And bet anything Gunn starts with Superman than Justice League. I think it definitely matters more that Superman starts off this universe. That's what they did with the previous universe with Man of Steel. Something that makes me wonder about the Justice League, because I don't think they'll be in this first phase, or whatever you want to call it, this slate of films. But something that makes me curious, and I guess William, you can answer this in the comment section as well, is like what if they already have the Justice League established in the universe and they don't even bother making a first film out of it? They're just there. They're already a team. They're already established to be this group that gets together for massive threats. Like, I think that like it feels like something like the comics. Like, they're just already a team. Like, you don't really have to do anything else. They're already there, and it's like I guess that could be a route they go with. Not even building to them getting together. Just they're already established from the start. Because again, it won't be an origin movie, the Superman film, and James Gunn said he has already met some superheroes already. So I don't know.
Oh wait, what happened? Sorry.
Oh, that what if the Justice League are already established in the DCU, even with the first movie being Superman, like they're already established as a team.
I mean, we've seen X-Men do that, where the X-Men were already established, and so like, I mean, if they do that, that's actually a very very interesting question. I honestly don't know, like, because we already know the Superman's gonna be probably like a year 2 or year 3 Superman. Probably he's not gonna have an origin story or anything, and I don't know. Like, he could do the Marvel method where, like, there's hints of other characters. Like, maybe another character will just make like a small appearance, but that's it. It really kind of depends. If it's set up well,
Yeah,
it depends on how the setup is, in my opinion.
I can agree kind of about, yeah. Well, it kind of would be cool to have them already established as a team, so you don't have to worry about any of the process of them getting together. But at the same time, people will say this is not organic, or this wasn't set up. It's like this development of them getting together, getting used to each other, getting past their differences, and being a cohesive team after that. Because obviously there's also members of Justice League who always clash with each other and always have different opinions when it comes to being a superhero and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think people will probably say it's just as rushed as what DC did before with the other universe. But I don't know, man. I I can't say for sure.
Yeah, but I can definitely see like at least like other heroes at least existing, if not the Justice League. Like, I can already see maybe like a Batman that's been around for at least a few years, or like 5 years, like existing. Maybe Wonder Woman's been around been around for a year, like in modern day.
Yeah. I can see you in the back, William, which is that it says device is not connected. So I don't know if you had to like try to fix it again before anything, before you get on. I definitely want to hear your thoughts when it comes to everything. Oh, here you are.
Well, here he is.
Listen, you have JL, the Justice League, that literally has been around longer than anything. Why would I need to build up to characters that are already known in that respect? And if I did that, that's following a formula that works for a different company. If I'm running DC, run DC.
What, did he lose his connection?
Not yet. He did. 'Cause I was about to say, damn, he just wanted to say that to me. And
Oh my god! Oh, are you good, William?
Let me get out of here.
Oh my goodness. I mean, William does make a good point though. Like you don't want to be too similar to Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I at least for like the characters that we're already familiar with, like Superman, Wonder Woman, definitely Batman, maybe even the Flash. You really don't need an origin story. And maybe you can do like a Justice League like story that they've been around. Maybe like you can have like an opening intro that kind of shows them the first time meeting, and then like it shows like them like a year or two after they've been formed, like taking on a new threat. Like I think they definitely you don't move to dark side right away. You do something different though.
I mean, no, you don't have to copy the exact formula, the build up. It's just that I think the people will probably enjoy more of a slow build up to the actual group getting together. Again, if they're established already, I wouldn't care either. As long as I see a movie from them, that's actually good. But and I agree that I don't think they'll go with Darkseid first. Again, I'm thinking like a Vandal Savage type character, or Brainiac, or like even someone like the Legion of Doom or the Injustice League, something like that. Like, again, I have no problems with them even establishing the actual villains themselves as just being around already. They don't get into any freaks accidents or something happens to them that makes them turn evil. I wouldn't care about that either if that happened when it comes to the DCU. Gunn is basically copying Justice League Immortal. uh, I'll send you a link, man. George, you talk for a minute so I can get back to I can focus on something else.
Okay. Well, one thing I will say is I definitely think the Superman movie needs to move away from Lex Luthor and Zod, not just because the DCEU did it, but also the Christopher Reeve movies did it. So I feel like this is also a new chance to show more of Superman's rogue gallery. Like maybe like Metallo, Toyman, Ultra Humanite. Maybe not Brainiac so soon, but maybe you can maybe start building up Brainiac. I'm trying to think. Mongol's another one. Like Superman's got a big rogue gallery that I think they should utilize at least for like the first couple films. I'm not saying cut out Lex Luthor. You can have Lex Luthor in the background or as a supporting character, but don't make him the big bad guy just yet. Like utilize some of the other villains. And Andrew, that's not saying Batman should move on from the Joker, but you gotta remember Batman's got a big rogue gallery as well. You want to see new villains, like eventually do the big villains, or like put them like in the background at the moment. Like start Superman out with somebody new, and then in the sequel you can start putting in Lex Luthor. And that's another thing I want to see with Batman in the DC universe. I want to see is more fictional, um, unrealistic villains like Killer Croc, Clayface be utilized. I want to see a Ra's al Ghul that is actually immortal. Solomon Grundy would be another one I would love to see, and a Bane that actually utilizes the Venom. And yeah, I know Ra's al Ghul was in Batman Begins. I'm talking about a Ra's al Ghul that utilizes the Lazarus Pit that's actually really immortal. Like the more things that are unrealistic, that's what I would like to see. done with Batman, since Matt Reeves is doing the more realistic Batman villains and Batman stories. Do the more fictional Batman stuff in the DC universe.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Max is every time whenever you're using Max's StreamYard or something, because it drops me off every time. No, what I was responding to is it seems like we got like an infection when it comes to thinking about DC, and it's the MCU infection. What they did was great for them. Congratulations, wonderful. They applied their path to their characters and where their characters were in pop culture society. That by no means should ever be imitated in DC. Completely different situation. It's not the same. And if I were doing the hiring and firing for that company, if that's all you got when you come in for the interview, you just go ahead and get your Uber and go back to where you came from. Because I don't need you in the company. If you can't be DC, then don't take the job. I don't need a 1,000-year buildup because I have characters in DC. More people know who Batman's butler is than knew who most of the Marvel characters were besides 2008. So why would I build up to that? Why would I build up to characters that are already interwoven into the fabric of American society? You start with JL as soon as you can. The way Snyder did it was right. The only thing that was wrong was mismanagement. The path was right. The management wasn't. They screwed that up. So I don't need to build up to every single Justice League character. If you don't know who Batman is by this time, then why are you even going to the movie? I mean, most people didn't know who Ant-Man was. A lot of people didn't know who Iron Man was, unless they were hardcore into comics. You needed to build up to them, and they did what they needed to do. They did what was right for Marvel. But every time I hear people say, well, this is what DC should do, they're doing it through the lens of a company whose rules do not apply to DC. Run DC. Think about DC. Stop trying to build it, using somebody else's framework. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked. Why would it work now? That's my only question.
Again, I can see how both sides can work. In my honest opinion, I don't know, maybe it is that MCU formula that's stuck in my brain still.
It's not a formula. There is no such thing. It is an application that they applied to them. That's like you and me taking the same prescription. If it doesn't work for you, it's going to kill you, right?
Yeah.
You do what works for your body, and you do what works for the organization that you're running. That's it. There's no MCU formula. That applies to them and only them.
I mean, it's definitely been copied before, at least attempted to. But
yeah, attempted and fail. Why do you fail? You fail when you copy something else and try to apply it to your situation. That's the definition of failure right there.
No, I agree, but wouldn't you think that some people would say it would be kind of rushed though to have that already established?
But once again, if you're saying that's rushed, that means you're using some other person's framework. The DC story comes together the way it comes together. Whether no matter what format you've ever used in DC, go back 85 years. There was a Justice Society and a Justice League, literally a Justice Society within months of any of these characters being created. That is how they created that form of storytelling. So that's what applies to their character. They literally created the supergroup to be able to augment each single individual character that they had created and to use it to funnel more characters into their pool. That's the way they've always done it. And that's the way they were doing it when they started in 2013. That's their formula. That's what they should be using because that applies to those characters. Like I said, where this went off the road is you had stuffed suits who were driving a car down the road, and instead of looking forward, they were looking in and seeing what the Marvel car was doing, and they crashed their car. And that spread to fandom. Every fan that brings up a comic book movie thinks that everything needs to be done that particular way. That way was great for Kevin Feige. He looked at his product, he analyzed his product for years, and he did what worked for his product. Now, whoever's running DC needs to do the same thing for them. They need to analyze the DC product and execute their plan based on the type of characters, where they are at, and go from there. Like I said, if I were doing the hiring and you bring up MCU while you're sitting in the interview, I just basically tell you to wait outside and I just tell you never to come back in again. You know what? I mean, no, do DC.
I agree.
And when I
agree.
pay for a DC movie or when I pay for a Marvel movie to see movies done their way, I pay for that. That is what I'm paying for. I'm paying for the characteristics and the traits and the way that Marvel does their thing. When I plop down that money for a DC film, I expect it to be done their way. Otherwise, I would just keep paying. I would just go to Disney Plus and just watch Marvel movies all day. If I pay for a DC movie, give me a movie based on the DC brand and done the way the DC brand has been doing it. Give me some copycat madness, and a 4-year-old can do that.
No, I understand. The reason why I was suggesting that is because look, I think it's very important that obviously they need a Superman movie and a Batman movie within this universe because it's been so long for both of them because obviously the Batman stuff is separate. So I was thinking, look, I'm not saying exactly for them to go from Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, whatever, and then to Justice League. I would have no issue with them being established. It's just that I think it's important for like the in my opinion at least for the core members, at least a Trinity to have movies first, then get to something like Justice League.
For business purposes, you do whatever puts them on the screen as quickly as possible because these are, like I said, there's nothing in other than maybe Spider-Man at any given time that has that type of brand name loyalty without ever picking up a comic book. You're catering to people who want to see these films on there, and they have a brand name loyalty that extends beyond geekdom. So you don't really need to do that. You want to hit as quickly and as fast as possible because Superman. Guess what your build up for Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman have been? 85 years of them existing. Yeah, and the general public knows about all that. Like I said, so you start with the format that works best for you. And if and to make that kind of money, and remember, they ain't gonna have all this time to build up anything. I know it's a 10-year plan, and he has a 4-year contract. He has a 4-year contract with a team option is what he has. Because if those shareholders don't see the return that they want, it's not going to matter what James Gunn wants. It's not going to matter what Peter Safran wants or David Zaslav. He answers to the shareholders. And if they don't see that they're getting a quick return on this, which is unfair because you're putting a lot of pressure on a brand new Superman movie that is going to meet resistance, then this whole thing, we're 3 years from now, we're talking about another regime change. So this build up. Oh, let's put this out there, and then we'll go to this, and they ain't got that kind of time. They do not have that kind of time, and they know they don't have that kind of time. And especially the way this has been rolled out and the way the information is coming out, they're gonna have that. That's just another brick, another obstacle for them to have to overcome. So there is no time to slowly build up to anything. You put it out there and you develop from there. And now if you want to do solo movies and everything else as your second tier and your third tier, go ahead after you've established the base and you've made that revenue, made that revenue engine going. But you're not going to do that by slowly building up. And they don't have that kind of time. 10-year plan, yeah, great. How many coaches get signed for 10 years and they're gone in 2? The situation dictates how much time that they have. And it's, this 10 years late, we might not even get a third movie into it if it doesn't go well. So no, don't waste time doing that kind of, you don't have the luxury of time. What is it? I can't read that because I'm reading this on my phone. What's that?
It says Williams, so no solo Superman movie.
If it were me personally, I would start with the League. But here's the thing: if you do start with a Superman movie, you're literally that's basically a Justice League movie. Right? The Superman is the cog in which the DC universe revolves around, and it's definitely the cog that Justice League revolves around. So technically, yeah, you really are. The Justice League is Superman. Even Zack's arc, that Justice League arc, was built around Superman. All right, so that it's if you're going to start with any other character besides the group, it may as well be the oldest cape superhero, known to man.
Yeah, so I guess basically to start off strong with the League and Superman, then that's how you should build a universe to have them all established, and you don't have to worry about any the slow pace stuff.
Well, what they need to do for the purposes of DC storytelling is have a platform on which these heroes exist, and they're all there. And then at that point, you can go and branch off into other things. But you need to drop that immediate bomb because, like I said, you're only going to get one chance at a first impression with this universe coming out. He does not have the time to build up in a slow. And not only do you not need to, he's not going to have that kind of time. So you need to establish immediately the world in which these characters exist and show them existing in it, and then go from there. You know, do your Batman movie, do your Green Lantern. I would like to see them do Green Lantern sooner than later because I think that's another big piece that can really bring about the entire universe, not just things that are happening on Earth. But that's going to be up to him. But yeah, they're starting with Superman because that's the nuclear bomb. But like I said, Justice League and Superman are synonymous. It's they walk hand in hand. So the very next thing really should be Justice League.
I think I could definitely see that image happening, that route they go. I think to add to it, I do agree with the Green Lantern stuff. I think it should be Superman. If anything, Green Lantern in the league. I'll accept something like that if it would happen. Because I think that Lantern franchise could be big for them if done right. And obviously, for years now, the DC brand definitely didn't care about the Green Lanterns at all for at least
which is abysmal, which is just pathetic. I can't believe that we've gone this long into this. These universes without a proper connected Green Lantern universe, when Green Lantern it could connect to so many things, Can
I ask you this though? Keep the show or transition it to a movie?
It all depends on where if they're going to continue with the original show on HBO Max. I don't want to see any more low budget superhero stuff. I want the DC to be taken out back and put down. Or the CW to be taken out back and just put out, out of its misery. It's had its course, and there's too many limitations on that to where you're existing in an atmosphere that does include Marvel, that does include all these Sony type movies. You can't do anything low budget and not be laughed at this point. So I would like to see it on the big screen, but at the same time, I wouldn't be, if you do a big budget TV show, I'm there for that as well. As long as it's not CW level.
As far as I know, with reports, it was supposed to be $100 million budget and 6 episodes. As far as I know, based on reports.
Yeah. $100 million for Green Lantern. That's pick and save budget. That's pick and save. I wouldn't, there's a lot of CGI that you got. I mean, it's literally going to be 90% CGI. And post-production stuff. I mean, and then if you're doing a core, then you're doing several different. I don't know if you want. Then in that case, I would rather see it at the very minimum $175 million budget because that's consistent on a movie. Then
I'm guessing since the show's to be based on Jon Stewart, that'll probably be a bunch of stuff on Earth. So that's probably how they can save the budget. Just only showing him in his neighborhood, being around other Earthlings or something like that. So that's. So they could get away from awe and all the CGI stuff they had to do.
But see, here's the thing, though. That if you're going to change your story just to make it cheaper, then just don't do it. If you have a vision of doing the Green Lantern and having it be this great, brilliant thing, then spend the money and do it. You get what you pay for, and if people get an indication that you're going pick and save and coupon clipping, they're going to have that same feeling about your project. All right. If it's like you're selling a house, if you use cheap stuff to rebuild your house and you use AstroTurf instead of real grass, and then you put a for sale market on there, people are going to basically think, what, this entire thing is cheap. So you don't want to give off an impression of cheap because you can't. It's hard to shake. All right. When Superman. No, who agreed that it wasn't the best? I don't who came up with that. That's never been established with that. It got screwed up by people who were trying to collect bonuses. But you started with Man of Steel. You went to it was this 5-minute story arc. The only thing I didn't like about Man of Steel is the whole Doomsday thing was stupid. That was the only thing I didn't like about it. But I thought that was one. I thought the rest of that movie was great. But there was no. Why wouldn't you? The Justice League and Batman, you figure between those 3 characters, there's no reason not to go into that character, not to go in those character arcs. I mean, if that's the story he was telling, the Justice League is a sum of parts.
they are the parts. So it made no sense not to go in that direction, to be honest with you.
So Batman's first appearance should be in a team up then?
It depends on what the story arc is. I would do it that way if you are establishing a universe, because the universe that James Gunn is establishing is a interconnected Batman. It's not a Batman where he's a detective in Gotham. You're bringing in this Batman to interact with the superhero universe. So yeah, the whole DCU is a team up. So yeah, I would go that route. And if you want to do a separate Batman movie later, then you can. Okay, there once again, what you got up there, that's the problem right there. With all due respect, that's the problem. When I'm talking about DC and my story structure for DC, can you bring that back up again, Eddie? Like, there you go. Why am I even speaking about the Avengers when I'm trying to build a DC structure? That's your fatal mistake right there. And this person's not the first person to make that mistake. That is the mistake that continues to haunt them. If you're going to do DC within DC. So, all right, guys, I got some people that came in, but yeah, it's just that annoys me. Like I said, New Year resolution for everybody: look at DC through its lens. All right.
Yeah.
Is that hard?
I'm just saying, what if they do go that route though, a slow build up? Would you still accept it?
It's not a matter of me accepting it. They don't have the time for that. If they go that route, I wish them all the luck in the world. We'll be back here in 3 years.
Okay, man.
All right, man. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
No, he makes a good point. Again, I can see how it can be, already established versus already, not already established, but a slow build up. Again, I don't know what route James Gunn wants to go. Yes, the heavy hitters are important. Obviously, the Trinity and then the core members of Justice League. Again, it would be kind of cool to have them already established, but going by the origin, not the origin movie, but James Gunn saying that the Superman movie is not going to be an origin, that he's already established to meet other people already, and in the backstory of this newly fresh universe. I don't know. I really don't know if the Justice League, how big, if we're going to see Justice League more faster and intended, or it just has to be a slow build up. I really don't know. It's very confusing too, because we just have to wait and see what he says, what he announces. No, we're just talking about the DCU, how some people aren't giving a chance or being biased or just hating, they're just speculating stuff like that. Well, really a basis of what's really going on or what's going to be announced or what structure James Gunn wants for his film slate, stuff like that. In my honest opinion, I said it like this before. I think maybe 2-3 years into Superman's career, maybe 4 at best. I know I'm thinking of Spider-Man, PlayStation Spider-Man, how he was already established for 8 years. He was about 23 when the first game came out, I think. So if anything, for something like Batman, I guess make him in like his mid to late 20s, 27 to 29, 27 to 31, and have him already been Batman for 8 years. I mean, I would accept it. It's definitely better than fucking 20. And that gives you enough time for at least 3 Batman movies or whatever.
Yeah.
What's up, Caden?
What's up?
Oh wow, I didn't know that was Caden.
Say your thoughts on this.
On what? On
the DCU, of course, and people kind of not giving it a chance, and people are being, people are speculating on what might happen based on bias, just because something else isn't happening. Them not liking James Gunn's style and thinking he's gonna ruin it with his humor or whatever else.
The thing is that people have to not just look at James Gunn's directing and writing. You also look at his producing. Look at his producing. Look at Slither. Look at Brightburn. Those are things that he produced. And Slither was his first actual horror movie and just movie in general, without trauma. So it's I mean, I honestly, and also with James Gunn, he can make, as we've seen, that he makes C and D-listers into A-listers. So imagine what he can do with an A-lister. He's not going to have the opposite effect of it. He's going to make them A+++++ listers, Like, and so it's not like anything. Like it's not gonna be like, oh my god, he's ruining Superman. No, it's like clearly, as we've seen that, like is that before he didn't want to do Superman because he felt like that it's too big of a character for him. And now he's taken it on, so he might have realized that he can grow and write this story, and has a story that he wants to tell. It's not like and what's great about writers, screenwriters, and like what makes a great writer is when you challenge yourself with a story. It's not like where James Gunn is like, oh, I'm not going to start with Superman. I'm going to start with Chip from the Green Lanterns because I know how to do a space rodent. Well, no, he's going to challenge himself and do something that he said he know first time to, and challenge himself and going to make a story about Superman. Like we were all about making the DCEU challenge themselves and challenge the audience, but when they finally have a person who's going to challenge himself, and people would look away and like say, "Oh no, that's not what we want." Like you wanted DC to challenge themselves, and they're finally doing it with James Gunn, and James Gunn's challenged himself. Let's be like, okay, yeah, let's do this. I'm so honestly, I don't care. Also, we should wait and see, and we shouldn't prejudge, without the plan in front of our faces. The only one thing that we know for sure is happening is a Superman movie written by James Gunn. Honestly, we don't even know where that Superman movie is on the slate. It could be the third, fourth movie to come out from the new DC universe. So it's whatever. Let's wait and see. And we've been, like I said, let's wait and see. One, we've been wanting DC to challenge themselves to go above and beyond. They're doing that. They're finally doing it, and people are still criticizing them. Again, it shows you that the audience doesn't know what they want. No matter what the audience is, DC, Snyder, Star Wars, whatever, they don't know what they want until they have it. So it's it's that thing. And also it's again, challenging. Let's wait and see. And it's James Gunn. He knows what he's doing. So yeah. I mean, he's planned a whole trilogy of movies for the Guardians that was going to take place over 5 to 7 years. So it's he has which with Kevin Feige, of course. So it's and he was basically going to be in control of the Cosmos and cosmic side of the MCU before he got fired. So it's he has Hollywood's hand and back because they know what Gunn is capable of.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cade, and that's another thing the comments just put up. You have to make the audience love the characters in order to be invested in the story.
Exactly, that too.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm well, look, I will have no issue with them being established or the characters already being a team and whatever else happens in the universe. But it's you already know people are gonna be it's Rush, or this is exactly the Man of Steel to BVS situation where it's you guys really just wanted an ensemble film quickly. You didn't even want to get to the basis of knowing these characters, knowing their problems, knowing because usually when it comes to these standalone films, they already set an arc within them to be fleshed out after they get together for them to worry about their own problems again, their singular problems again. So it's we need to know how these characters think, how they work, how they what challenges do they face. But it's if we see them all together, for example, we go straight from Superman to Justice League, people will be well, we're seeing Batman, we're seeing Green Lantern, we're seeing the Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg for the first time. If that's the roster, I think the roster will be kind of different. But people will be
the starting roster would be different, and then they'll go to the 7 that everyone knows.
But people will be
1 or 2 people.
But people will be well, we don't know shit about these characters, and when it comes to when it comes to being attached to them, we can't really be attached to them because we don't even know what they're all about. We don't know all the stuff that's going on within their individual stories. They're just there to be there. And I think people will kind of say it's inorganic. Like we won't read because this is the first time we're seeing them as a team. There wasn't no them, either them handling problems on their own or them coming together and facing someone before, going together and facing some big threats. So people be like, well, I can't really see these people as a cohesive team if we haven't seen it before. We're just seeing them for the first time already together, not facing really anything. It's just, again, if they go that route, I have no issue. But I'm just thinking of some of the stuff people might say about, it doesn't feel right for them to already be around. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree with Donovan. I think we're overthinking it into the fact that it's gonna be like, I think the first year of DC, this new DC, will be fairly simple. It's gonna be like Superman, Batman, Green Lantern movie probably. Those would be the first 3 movies of the new like DC, like as part of it, and then I'm sure they won't like take their time or rush the whole Batman and Robin stuff. So they'll probably have like the first movie of him having a Robin or like origin of Robin, So they're not gonna be like trying to catch up, And I'm sure they're probably gonna build to a World's Finest movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
To be fair, when it comes to someone like Aquaman or the Flash, Aquaman, people thought he was like a dual bro that was only giving out one-liners. Everyone thought the Flash was just a weirdo with his freaking eye moving thing, wherever how he's cartoony as dialogue in that film. So people definitely had it obviously is WB's fault for making that movie the way it was with Joss Whedon and reshoots. But no, people's first impressions of those characters were not good until obviously Aquaman came out, and then the Flash movie we just had to wait and see how it is. But I think Wonder Woman obviously she had an iconic movie before Justice League, and I think when it comes to BVS, her being introduced as a secondary character in that film about two of their top characters, I think I agree that they made a role fit within the movie. I guess I don't know, but no, it didn't hurt Aquaman. But I think when it comes to the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg as well, because people were calling Cyborg just boring and dull. People would just why is you guys here? Like why? And I know it's to go back to the MCU topic. Look, the MCU structure, standalone films, and then a slow build up. I think it works, even though I know DC has to do its own thing. It's just that
you don't have to go. You can't go slow, but you also can't rush. That's the thing. Like that's where DC is right now. Also, so you can't slow it. Go slowly. You also can't fast pace it.
Yeah, because DC fans are getting impatient right now for something.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that you can't fast it, and you also can't be slow with it. So it's like, and also, again, we just have to have patience as well.
No, I agree. They can't afford to wait because they've already had so many fuck ups already, and people are impatient with DC now. The general audience, as far as I know, gave up on a DC cinematic universe. So now, I agree. The heavy hitters and the people who are there will definitely elevate the hype for it and the word of mouth, saying, okay, we already got to the basics. Let's get to everything else that happens down the road. I agree with stuff like that. It's just I don't know if it really work out if it will be executed well. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta do what they think is best for them, and I don't think the problem's so much with Batman versus Superman. Like, yeah, maybe some things were rushed, but to be fair, I think it was also maybe tone. Like, I think the tone more so turned people off than rushing stuff, because for some people they gave that I spoke to at work, they gave up on the DCEU after Batman versus Superman. It wasn't even Justice League.
Yeah. Again, this is all speculation. They can go to any route they want, but I agree. Time is limited when it comes to us as fans wanting an answer, wanting to see how they think they're going to be successful when it comes to DC. Again, our our speculation won't really mean anything when it comes to James Gunn announcing what he has in store for the first. I guess I have to call it a phase of the slate, a phase of the overall 10-year plan. But I agree, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be they definitely. I'm not saying they have to take their time. They had to take their times, yes, with like the script and the story, the narrative, the character development, the character progression. Obviously, that all that stuff has to be good. But when it comes to the inclusion of their successful characters already being established or already being throughout the universe in its first phase, I'm not disagreeing that definitely will build them success faster. And if they go their own route when it comes to building a universe in the first place and not really think about Marvel, because they shouldn't. No, I agree. They shouldn't think of Marvel. They shouldn't even consider how they did the formula. Obviously, that's what did them dirty in the beginning with their first universe with the DCU, because they wanted that Marvel money. That's why they try to copy them as bad as it was. So I definitely see both sides to it, where people want this slow build up, or they want just for them to take their time and just I guess I have to use the word earn the Just League getting together. But I agree with the reality, the harsh reality that no, they already messed up once. People are impatient. Us as fans are impatient. We want to see all this stuff done already because we don't trust them to take their time again because of what happened beforehand.
Yeah, yeah. Don't make this. They gotta find a way to avoid making the same mistakes that they made with the DCEU.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, with Gunn and Saffron, who, of course, was a producer on, like from Aquaman to Shazam to, what was the recent one? The Suicide Squad. So it's like he's been there from the start basically, and he knows he probably knows they effed up, the previous people effed up, and it's their time to fix and course correct and make a better DC universe for themselves and the fans and audiences, and also make a DC universe where the general audience can actually enjoy and watch, and not be worried what the general audience will think.
That's a good answer, and this will definitely connect to this question. I'm a casual superhero watcher. For me, I want a solid PG friendly approach. I also think they could satisfy the more adult audience with a separate spin off. No, the thing about DC is that they can go any route. I mean, look at the DCU as the baggage it had. It had PG, it had more PG with the comedy. It had more gritty and dark, edgy. It had rated R. So I think they can definitely benefit from that style because look, people. I think the PG-13 route does work, and obviously pushing it works as well. But I think people say, don't go because look, no matter what you say, people will always compare it to Marvel because Marvel was built on success and the DCU wasn't. But I think it will benefit them more to go that route of just having all these styles and tones. I know Elseworlds is a thing. James Gunn is developing Elseworlds stuff as well. That possibly could, not just the Batman Joker, but stuff after that as well. That could be more edgy and darker as well. But I don't think you should play it safe. I think you should give us the action-packed coolness that was always in the comics when it comes to, stuff that's built on reality, murder, people just straight up getting decimated, just turning to ashes, stuff like that.
Like Guardians is both family friendly and there's still adult themes. Of course this is Disney, but if we're looking at the Suicide Squad, it's very adult heavy, but at the same time it just still shows you the range. I mean that Gunn has. He can make what seems like a family friendly movie with some 10 minutes of adult jokes, here and there. Like the Jackson Pollock painting piece in Guardians, the first Guardians. That's if you really a slide joke for people who will understand what the Jackson Pollock painting is and also what the context of that scene.
Be nice, man.
So-
Come on.
Huh? Oh. But yeah, like the thing is, Superman can have like there can be some, like if it's Lobo as the villain, Lobo is a nasty mouth person. But the thing is that everything around him else can be pretty moderate, like PG-13, while he's the lame, naughty mouth there, with Perry White probably cursing here and there.
All I say is when it comes to the ratings, don't trust me. Don't worry about Superman or those more. Again, I'm guessing James Gunn is to do the more traditional Boy Scout version. I hope there's a balance because I would like to see the Man of Steel elements introduced in that version as well. Like I want a balance between the Boy Scout and the stuff that was more grounded and more serious in tone. But look, when it comes to Superman, trust me, no, there's not gonna be lots of swearing. There's not gonna be lots of edgy jokes. There's not gonna be all that stuff he did with Peacemaker or Guardians or the Suicide Squad. It's gonna be more level headed. Family safe, family friendly kind of, I guess. But it's still a comic book movie. Because look, see what you want about I have to compare it again, the MCU. But no, they definitely have pushed it when it comes to violence and some other suggested themes as well when it comes to their film. So again, don't worry about James Gunn making an R-rated Superman. I mean, Batman might definitely push some stuff, but I don't think it's gonna be that crazy either. But
I think with Superman, I think it will be more of like violence in language. Superman, I think most of it will be violence in language, nothing else other than that, really. Like, if it's like PG-13, like Ultimate or Rated R or anything, it'll be violence in language. Like, that'll probably be it.
Yeah. Look, man. Again, we only have probably a couple of days, maybe a week or two until he announces anything. I don't know. You don't need an R rating to push that one. No, you don't. But I think with certain storylines, if they want to adapt, or especially with some particular characters like Batman, etc. No, you can definitely do PG, but no, I think people would say, well, to make it more comic accurate or to make it even more cool than it already is, you can add these elements to it. I could be wrong. Maybe people just want to say more, not simple, because that sounds messed up. More toned down, I guess. It could go any way. DC has a leeway to do all this stuff when it comes to this universe. If James Gunn wants it to be more like the DCU, at least when it comes to different tones for their films. Now, obviously not the style, because style definitely didn't work out. But let's see what else. Ledger's Joker put a pencil through Guy's skull with a PG-13. Yeah, you don't have to go that far when it comes to that. It depends on the story as well too. That's why I was saying comic book adaptations. Which ones they want to adapt to live action or take elements from, at least.
Right. Yeah, you don't again. Not everything needs to be PG-13. Not everything needs to be R. And everything needs to be G, PG, whatever. Not everything needs to be. Hell, it's like whatever. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. In most markets,
you can.
Yeah, it's more restricted. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think that's why you can, especially if you know specifically the audience that you want for a movie. Like, let's say you want to do Batman movie, and you only want 15 and up to watch this movie, then you will make sure this movie stays a PG-13 movie. It's like, okay. And then if you only want 20 and up to watch this movie, you make sure you keep it R-rated, and you will know what you're losing and what you're gaining from those things.
Yeah. So. No, I agree. Again, they could go any route they want or they see fit, as long as it translates well to the masses. But I think I'll end it here because I'm definitely tired talking. But again, if you have faith, have faith. If you don't, just wait and see, and then maybe we'll have faith in the overall plan. Once we start getting the sense of what James Gunn is going for this universe, once he starts announcing stuff, because I expect this universe to be grand in scale when it comes to everything he's announced. At least during the next couple of years from now. But to start it off again, I hope he goes strong. If he doesn't, then try to take your time, try to build something as fast as you can, but obviously within reason, within the slate. But no, that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, the DC Black Label Elseworlds for R rating. Yes, he could possibly do that as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say before I segue out of this. Kaden, what do you have to say?
Patience. The challenge he's challenged himself with writing a story that he said no to a while ago. And directing. And let's patience challenge, and let's see in a couple of weeks, whenever that is, when he announces the slate. Or at least like a couple things.
Mm-hmm. Well, when it comes to that, that's all I have to say for now. This has been another DC Madness. The other one I have planned, I'll think about doing that. Because I can tell that won't get lots of people heated with my opinions. And yeah, I still troll now and then, but at the same time, I'd rather be taken more seriously when it comes to opinions and takes. That's why I try not to get people angry or say shit that will get people mad. Well, sometimes it is my opinion, sometimes it's not, but sometimes people will never know the truth when it comes to my overall thoughts on things. But that's all I have to say. Peace out, everyone. I love you all. Thank you for watching me again. This has been fun talking about DC in a more calmer way, in a way where people don't insult each other, and just they go super sane about it. But yeah, bye everyone. Bye.